And I think we are live. Hey, everybody, if you can see us and hear us, please comment below and let us know, because we're using Be Live TV and who knows. But everybody, I'm Beth Weinstein. How are you? Love my angle. I'm in the world's smallest co-working space room. So this is the only setup I had. And I'm here with one of my amazing former clients, Dr. Nella Gluzman. Hey, Nelly.
Hi, everybody. Thank you so much for having me on.
Yes, thanks for being here. So I wanted to interview Nelly to share her story about being in my Mastermind program and launching this completely new business in under 10 months and blowing it up and getting on BuzzFeed and going international. So Nelly, the first question I have is just, tell people a little bit of your journey. Like, I've known you for, I don't even know how many years. And I remember when you were starting to talk about making this transition into functional medicine. Now, tell us a little bit of the background, like what you do for a living and what you wanted to bring to life with your business.
Sure, thanks. So I'm a conventionally trained pediatrician. I work in a hospital. It's the most conventional place to work. I love what I do. I do it a lot. I've been doing it for a long, long time, and I'm really good at it, but I started to get really frustrated with my own experience of having a child who kept getting sick over and over again and not knowing what to do with it, and how to keep her healthy, and then seeing more and more of how the information that I have from my conventional pediatric training was very limited. And so through my own journey, through the journey from my family, from wanting to be super healthy myself, for being confused, I started to kind of look really outside of the conventional world of pediatrics and started studying a lot. Functional medicine, integrative medicine, nutrition, all these different modalities. And so at one point I just, I felt like I had enough information to go out there in the world and start helping other kids. Like I was able to help myself and my child and just people around me. And so I had to start a business in order to do that, because what I was doing was completely innovative. Nobody's doing this. There's a little bit of pushback. It was very scary. It's just very non-conventional, but it made the most sense to me.
Yeah, no, I know you've mentioned this non-conventional coming from the hospital, and then, I'd be curious, can you tell people a little bit more about this one particular area that you've studied called GAPS that has been really helpful, but what people think of it in the traditional healthcare system?
Yeah, so there's so many different ways to describe the same thing. So I started studying functional medicine because it was like the root cause approach to what's wrong. Instead of just treating the symptoms, we're going to figure out what is really going on and heal that, cure that, give the body what it needs to heal. There's so much amazing technology out there, science behind it. It's changing every day. The amount of information we can get with a simple stool and urine test is incredible. The amount of changes we can make with certain supplements is incredible. But this really only applies to adults. And so I kind of found myself at this fork in the road where I wanted to help my pediatric patients, the little ones, but no one's going to be giving them supplements. And a lot of the studies that were being done for adults, they're not being done for the kids. So I really believe that nothing can work unless you have the proper nutrition for things to work, and all health starts in the gut. And so I studied with the author and the creator of the Gut and Psychology Syndrome Protocol, which is the most fundamental way to heal the gut and therefore heal the body, and that I was able to find. And so it's a lot of traditional wisdom. It could be very hard, but it could also be tailored to whichever kind of situation it needs to be tailored to. And so whether somebody's really good in the kitchen and is able to cook fresh meals every day, or kind of limited by the amount of time they have, all this could be kind of custom tailored. And so this modality helped millions of children. Wow. It's a little bit hard to do. It helps when there's a practitioner behind you, hold your hand every step of the way. And so I was mentored by Dr. McBride, who created this a long time ago. And now I'm the only pediatrician in New York that does this kind of treatment.
Uh-oh, my broadcast froze for a second.
Yep.
But I can hear you, so keep going. Now I think we're back on.
We're back on. So I founded Blossom Pediatrics, and that was a really interesting journey. It was harder than medical school, and the hardest part was harder than residency in its own right. And the hard part was actually just getting out of my own way. And that's why I'm a big fan of yours, because I think you mentioned it's been 10 months, and I feel like it really is a full blast practice now. I'm living my dream. I'm practicing medicine the way that I want to. I get to spend 2+ hours with each patient, which is incredible. Really get to know them. The way that I structured my business, I was able to give people what they need while keeping it affordable. And I mean, the results have been incredible. So
wow.
I'm just very grateful that
awesome.
with some help.
with some help.
Yeah.
So I'm so glad you mentioned that. Okay, launching a business was even harder than medical school, but it's actually not as hard when you get the right support. So let's talk about this a little, because I know you said you were a little hesitant to invest in coaching. Of course, you were probably hesitant to even turn this into a business, even though you knew, hey, this really works, and there's a lot of people, children, who need this health care that the traditional system isn't really providing as much. So, you were driven by a passion, your heart. But what inspired you to, take that leap to just be like, let me join Beth's program now or never? This is the year I'm starting my business. I can't sit on this any longer. Like, what brought you to that point?
I was really stuck on, what really brought me to the point was I was really stuck on not knowing where to start. Like, I had this idea for probably a year before we spoke, and I dreamt about it. I fantasized about it. I obsessed about it. I thought about it 24/7, and I actually didn't know where to start, and I didn't even know if I had it in me to be like an entrepreneur. I remember saying a few years ago that I will never ever be an entrepreneur. I come from a family of my dad is an entrepreneur. It's in my life. And I never wanted so much responsibility a few years ago, but not knowing where to start was what stopped me. And when we spoke, I felt like you had the tools that I needed to at least start. And what kept me going was all the other things that I didn't realize were stopping me, which was mindset. It was all mindset. So that's when you told me, like, this is where we should start. And I remember talking to you going, I really think I need to blog, and you said, do you like blogging? And I said, I don't like blogging. I don't want to blog, but I think I need to blog in order to have a business. And you said, no, you don't need to do anything that is not in your heart to do. And so I actually followed your advice, and everything after that just flowed out of me.
I actually tell people that story a lot, because I get it. You're not the only one that comes to me that's like, I went and put up this big Facebook ads, or I went and did this pretty website, or I'm blogging every day. And then I'm like, well, yeah. And here's the reality. You actually can grow a business through blogging, but it's just one avenue. And there's actually so many other avenues, and there's avenues that are a lot quicker and easier and faster to get clients. And then, on top of it, I always say, okay, the only people I believe who should be blogging on a very regular basis are people who actually really love to write. And I've had, even in the Mastermind program with you, there was someone else who really loved writing. And I was like, okay, go for it. You can maximize that. But you're already busy. You're a mom, you're a doctor, you're starting up a business. Of course, and what I teach is a quicker way to get clients that doesn't involve, and really to make a blog effective, you have to do it very, very consistently, 2 times a week, every week, forever and ever. But yeah, I love that. And so let's talk a little bit about the mindset. because, again, you're not the only one, and I get it. I've been there a gazillion times through 3 of my businesses, and I remember going through that initial fear, in my second business when I came out and told people. So what was one of your biggest, you had mentioned fears and mindset issues. What do you think one of your biggest blocks was when you started, or what was really holding you back? And like you mentioned, you got out of your own way.
I think my biggest problem was creativity, and starting something requires creativity. And I just didn't trust what I was doing. I was kind of afraid that it wasn't perfect. It wasn't the best it could be. It wasn't professional enough. And so those blocks, they left really, really, really fast, because you were like, just write it and send it. There was something that happened that really reassured me, and after that I kind of was never afraid anymore. It was a big deal. I never told anybody what I was doing. In fact, on my personal Facebook, no one really knew that I was a pediatrician. In general, I always kept my professional world very separate from my professional world. And so you on our mastermind group, you posted a challenge early on for us. You wrote, write what you're doing on your Facebook, on your personal page, which was a big deal, because it doesn't say anywhere that I'm even a pediatrician, let alone doing something that's kind of out there and hard to explain. And I wrote down from my heart. I just sat down, and for the first time ever, it felt so good. It just felt so liberating and so freeing to write down exactly what I was doing and why. And I wrote, I'm starting this business because I'm sick and tired of seeing kids sick and not getting what they need. Even the best parents go to the best specialists, but no one's really looking at the root cause, and it's so unavailable. Why does somebody have to pay? It's just so inaccessible, and it's almost impossible. And even in New York City, which is the mecca of all things available, if it's not available in New York City, where is it going to be available? So I wrote down exactly what I was doing and why, and I put it out there. And within 24 hours, BuzzFeed reached out to me, and they said, "We want you to do a video. We love you. We love you as a pediatrician." And they cast me to do a video for them on BuzzFeed, and it has 500,000 views right now.
I know. The last time I sent it to someone, I was like, "Holy crap!" It's got picked up by NBC or the Today Show, and then it went crazy. But Nelly, this is so everybody. I want you guys to know. I think I've known you maybe 5 years or 6 years, just as a within our community, goddesses. And I never knew what you did for a living either. I was like, she's kind of a mystery, And I love that, this is actually going to lead me to my next question. It's you shared yourself, you shared with your network what you were doing. And I know, there were other things that happened, because I remember you said friends started reaching out. But I mean, look at that one video on BuzzFeed, and now 500,000 people. And it's actually a very entertaining video. I've watched it more than once. It's really well done. But so tell people, I'm curious, what are some, seemingly magical things that have happened since you launched? Because I see this all the time, even with my own business, with all my other clients, there's always this kind of air of magic, things, the unexpected, or someone reaching out of the blue. But what else magical happened?
I feel like all the things that happened were happening more and more when I was kind of in my flow state, where I was allowing myself to just be and experiment and do what I believed was right. Mm-hmm. And so I went through a period of being afraid of not knowing how much to charge, and what kind of advertising do I need, and what kind of things do I spend money on? And then so what happened ultimately was, after doing a lot of mindset work, visualizations that you taught us, and certain books that really spoke to me, The Big Leap was a life changer, and it was just a lot of resources that I adapted into my life. And so all that fear and anxiety, I just don't have it anymore. Like I mean, it's not like I'm a seasoned entrepreneur. This is really relatively new. But when I wake up every morning, I feel really confident that the business will grow, and I'm not worried about it. And it is growing. And so the more I kind of just like allow and accept and believe and be positive, and the more I get everything that I could ask for. Like the amount of patience that I want. And so whenever I feel like maybe it's a little bit too much, it kind of slows down. And then I feel like when I'm ready for it, they come. And the right kind of patience is really important. And personally, I'm just a lot happier. I feel like it's really empowered me as a human, as a physician, as a parent, and as a woman, because I think it's kind of sexy to run a business, you know, and so I all the aspects of my life benefited.
I love it. I'm like, I will not go into the sex. We're going to keep this rated G. But yeah, you know, I actually wanted to ask about that next, is about how did this affect you in your, you know, personal life? Because of course, you know, our work, and I actually did a webinar on this yesterday talking about how, you know, as Western humans in the Western world, and we're not like indigenous tribes, but, you know, most of what our makeup is our work. You know, it's like what we do, because we spend so much time working, whether it's a business or for someone else, it doesn't matter, but it's a huge part of our life. And when there's a shift, and I've seen this happen with so many people and so many clients, you know, when you start shifting towards that direction of, you know, something that really lights you up, that feels more, you know, driven by the heart and more purpose driven. And like with you, you've had your own personal experiences with this, and you believe in this work. You know, that's another thing. You have to believe in your own work and believe in what you're teaching, but, you know, everything else starts to align. So I'm just curious, you know, you mentioned you're happy. I know you mentioned confident, it's sexy, but like, how else has it affected just your like day to day, you know, like, or like your belief in, you know, your future?
Well, my partner is extremely supportive, and
he's the best.
He's the best.
He is awesome.
He was always supportive, and I feel like it brought us closer together because he's like on this journey with me and really believes in me. He's also very much into mindset, and so learning about mindset brought me closer to him, because then I was able to speak his language. Like he would be the one doing these exercises all the time, visualizing, meditating, whatever it was that would call him. And now I had a purpose to do it, and like a reason to do it, and so not just, you know, which is always a good reason to do it, these things, but it was very like driven by wanting to really help people. And so it brought us I feel like it brought us a lot closer together. We have a lot more cool things to talk about, the different things we try to do, and we're sharing ebooks all the time and podcasts, so that's awesome. And then and I really love the outpouring of support from people. Like I couldn't believe how much people care about what I'm doing and why, and how important it was to so many people. And so it feels really good to feel held by humans around me.
Yeah.
Amazing friends stepped forward who are like amazing entrepreneurs and really like took me under their wing and sat down with me and talked to me. And so I was in the presence of like incredible company all the time. When I looked for help, support, like just tell me it's going to be good, everybody was there for me, and that was incredible. And I will always have that. So yeah.
So good. I know it's really beautiful to see, you know, who comes out and the amount of support and community. And especially, you know, when you start sharing yourself on this deeper level, like sharing your experience, you know, I always say it's like coming out of the closet in a way, like, hey, I've been working on this, and here's, you know, it's like your baby, it's birthing a new baby. And yeah, I mean, of course, you know, I always say there's always going to be some haters are going to hate, but most of the haters are actually very silent, you know, and generally, you know, you learn who's really there and this community. And it's just so beautiful. And even within the mastermind itself, you know, to have a community of people that are supporting one another, and a coach, and, you know, it helps you. I always say it's kind of like this energetic rise, you know, we all rise together. Everybody's holding you up and pushing you up to your next level. So I'm curious, you said you were hesitant to invest in coaching, and I get it, because I don't, you're not the first person that says this, but what would you say to someone who's kind of like where you were a few years ago? Like, you have had this idea and you've wanted to do it. And I know part of your drive is like, okay, you want more freedom. You want to live more on your own terms, eventually, whenever you want to quit your regular job. But, what do you say to someone who's kind of on that fence of like, because I talk to people like this all the time. They're like back and forth, like, I've been wanting to do this, but I'm scared to do it. And then I don't know about getting support. And it's really scary to invest in a program like this. What do you say to them?
So I actually find it to be the case now with my own patients very often when there's no investment of a sort. It could be financial, it could be time, it could be emotional. When there's no significant investment, people don't take it as seriously. So I'm kind of glad that there was an investment to be had, because I really took it seriously. And I'm a notorious quitter. I've tried everything: guitar, sewing, like everything. Things that that was an investment. And so for me, like, I stick to it when there's a financial transaction associated with it. There's a lot to lose. So plus, I just feel like I got a really good deal, because my business is thriving, and that's priceless. And so whatever investment that was made, it's minuscule at this point, because this is a lifelong change in my life. So I didn't really feel it that much when the clients and my patients started coming in. It was like, I basically made it back already. So actually, yeah, for sure.
That's it. I always say that to people. I'm like, the cost of my program is one client. That's all you need. One client. And actually, what I teach is to charge more than the cost of my program. So even that one client, you would still earn money on top of it, essentially. So when people are hesitant, I'm like, all it takes is one client, and the whole entire, you get a return on your investment into the program. So to me, it's a no-brainer, but I get it. I get why people are scared. So Nelly, tell people, Dr. Gluzman, what is next for you and Blossom? Like, what do you have on the plan for 2020? Like, okay, other than another viral video across the world?
I'm gonna write
a book.
Yeah, I'm gonna write a book.
That is amazing.
I mean, I'm writing it because I'm gonna need the content. This is stuff I write for my patients all the time, and I don't know if it's going to be a bestseller, whatever it's going to be. It's just for me to get it out there, and information that I think is really important. And so, and I know how to use the content well. So it's not just writing for a book, but it's going to turn into other things like a class and posts and blogs and newsletters. And so basically, I'm creating a lot of content.
Exactly. Oh, this is great. And for what you teach, and especially if it's not, there's not a lot of information out there yet, this would be a really great path for you. So I'm really excited. That's awesome, because I'm in this leadership program right now, and someone has assigned me like, it's a long story. We have these big goals, and I guess my goal was not stretchy enough. So he's like, oh, okay, go write a 20 chapter book. And I have 5.5 weeks to do this. So I'm like, okay, I'll get on that.
You can do it.
Yeah. But oh, Nelly, this is so good. I thank you so much for sharing. I could totally talk to you forever. And I really, your link is, well, actually, you know what? We'll post your website link in the comments, which is blossompediatrics.com, right?
Yeah. It's easy.
Yeah. And then her Facebook page is here, but please, everybody, check out Dr. Gluzman and, her office in New York City. And I'm pretty sure she does virtual work as well, for those of you who are not in New York. But Nelly, thank you so much for sharing yourself. It was such an honor to have you in my program.
Thank you. I missed you. It was so nice to talk to you.
I know. And it's, what? I'm so honored to be able to, guide you in that journey into a transformation. Because it's, I always say, yes, it's about the business, but really it's about life. To me, it's about living a fulfilled life, because that's what we're here for. We're not here to just survive. We're here to thrive. And when people report, you know, confidence and relationships and feeling good and being fulfilled, like that's it. That's what it's all about. You know, the abundance and the freedom is just kind of like icing on the cake. Thank you so much. It was great to have you here. And thank you everybody for watching. Please feel free to drop any comments or ask Nelly any questions or me any questions. And we will see you very soon. Bye.
Bye.